Hello there. Today we're going to give you an honest review of Shapes 2. Yeah, this is another factory building game, and I was looking forward to playing another new factory game, but this is the game in a nutshell. The screen right here shows it all. You just make the shapes, you turn them around, you cut them, you stamp them, put shapes on top of other shapes, fulfill the orders, and they all go into the hole, and that is it. That's this game in a nutshell. It is kind of big and expansive, and there's lots of shapes and combinations and all that kind of stuff, so if you're into all the different combinations and all that kind of stuff, then it's good for you. And I'm stuck at this fucking area again. Home, jump to home base. There we go. So you're just doing this. You're cutting the shapes up. You put them on the factory belt, you stamp them, you turn them, you stack them up there to convoluted shapes, stacked and separated and all that kind of fun stuff. You fulfill the orders, you get some research points. You get the research points to unlock stuff, and this is where the game starts to fall apart. I like the upgrades and stuff like that, but what's the next upgrade going to do? This doesn't give you this information. Locked out, what is this going to do? You grade out all your locks out. What does that unlock? There's nothing really to come back to if you can't show me what you're doing. Okay, it tells you this one here, but doesn't tell you how much research points it's going to cost you to unlock these things and what you have to do to get them and stuff like that. It's just missing all the information. If I have to go online and look up resources to find out what these things are so I can plan ahead, and then I'm spending my time doing something else besides playing this game and being in this game to actually do that, and that is a negative. That is something you should not be doing anymore. None of these newer games out there in the last 10 years should actually be having anything locked out and not showing what it is. It should not show you what the next level is not. You should be able to see it in the future and see all this stuff because you can find it online, and people are going to want to find out what these next levels are going to do, how much is it going to cost, all this information you're going to want to know, and especially for a game that requires a lot of information and they don't give it to you and they lock it and grade it out there. Big mistake for this type of game. I can understand for some of the other games hiding some things here and there, but for this type of game, no, there's no excuse. It should not be done. And then at the end of the day, after playing this game for hours and hours and then realizing, what am I doing playing this game? It is just stamping shapes and cutting shapes and sending them into a hole. That is it. Fulfilling these orders. There's nothing exciting and fulfilling about this game at the end of the day. Sure, you're completing tasks, you get the dings, you get research points, and all of this stuff on here, but you're limited in size, you're limited in scale. You can't scale your height. You can't really build anything. You're just building roadways and stuff like that. You're just building conveyor belts, and there's nothing else to this game. If this game was like 10 years ago, this would be like a top of the line game out there for factory games. But as it is just another standard factory game with lots of little tools on there. This would be best suited for a school environment. Basically, you give it to the kids to play and learn about shapes and stuff like that, and learn how to do more complicated things. It's better off as a learning tool than an actual enjoyable game at the end of the day. So if schools are seeing this here, you go ahead, you pick it up for your students and stuff like that, but for actual gameplay stuff, it's just not really that exciting at the end of the day. You're not really doing anything. It is missing so much of the other things that these other factory games have these days for their gameplay, and it's just disappointing that they just went with just shapes and doing all this stuff for their game. But they did the shapes very well, so for just doing shapes and sending them out there and doing the orders and stuff like that, it's a really decent take on the game, basically, right? It's Shapes 2, so I didn't play Shapes 1, and I'm glad I didn't, because I'm not going to be coming back and playing this game again, because it just doesn't, cut the mustard for this type of game in this day and age. Like 10 years ago, perfect. And now, not so much. But there's lots more things you could do in this. You have a big, huge thing. You get more blocks and colors unlocked, big sectors and more sectors and lots of stuff. So there's lots to do in this game. So there's like no points lost and of things to do, but it's just going to be the same thing over and over again. Like I did the shape already, I do the square with the circle on top. Now I gotta do the colored things and do the same thing over again, and that's what all these tasks are basically going to be when you do your stuff. Just keep doing those same tasks over and over again on here. So do the shape this way, do it this way, do it that way, and then add that to it. It's just not exciting. So yeah, I can't give this game a pass at the end of the day. So yeah, it's going to have to be lower than a 5 out of 10 because I was playing this game and it's like, okay, this is just not acceptable anymore. It's just doing this, sending stuff off into the hole. It gets that boring. So I wanted and it locks off the research points and stuff like that. So you can't see if stuff is locked off and grayed away. You can't see it. It's just the negative stack up on there, and I'm hovering over like a 3 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10 because for factory games out there where you really don't really care about all the fluff and the flashiness and stuff like that, and then this game will be a lot better for you if you don't care about that stuff or the action or something like Satisfactory has. This is like no Satisfactory, to say the least. It's not even close to it in this league. Maybe in complexity in its shapes and stuff like that, and how much stuff you gotta do by stamping them and restamping them and stuff like that. But then it just gets old. You're stamping one shape on top of another shape. You're just basically stacking shapes. Basically, I say they call it stamping. It's just you stack a shape on top of another shape. Like all that stuff is stacked up there for one of the other old orders. Stack it like 4 times. Then add colors and stamp it again, and add some new angled shapes and stamp it again, and get a train to jump stuff into there. Okay. Yeah. But it's well done, and I would recommend it for schools maybe. But as for an actual gameplay experience, it's a no. I'll be nice and give it a 4 out of 10 in my book. But yeah, I'm not gonna come back and play this game again. And if I see a Shapes 3, I'm probably not gonna even bother trying that game out there. And I won't go back and try Shapes 1 after seeing this, because if this is supposed to be better than Shapes 1, it's just gonna be making shapes. That is just not interesting enough for me today or any other day. Basically, I got my day's worth of playing out of it, and that is it. So yeah, it's a pass. So yeah, 4 out of 10 at the end of the day for Shapes 2. So thanks for watching, and I will see you later.